One. Recording. All right, so we're live. Great.
Great.
Okay, well, where to start? Fuck, I haven't seen Ben in a while. What's going on?
Good. I'm new. I'm Ben. Oh, I guess my
Oh,
name's
okay, yeah, intros. I forgot. Intros. All right, go ahead. Go ahead, Ben. Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, what's up? I'm Ben. I know Gabe and Bryant from college. We were in the same fraternity together and smoked a lot of weed together.
Facts. Yeah.
and we talked a lot about a lot of things, and I think we all grew up together quite a bit in those years.
Yeah.
So yeah, as soon as I heard this was an opportunity, I definitely signed on.
100%. 100%. Yeah. Okay, so I'll put it on my YouTube channel for sure. And so, yeah, so you guys, if you guys watched the video with Bryant, you know, we talked a lot about personal development stuff. I've known Bryant and both Ben since college. And like Ben said, we smoked a lot of weed together. And all three of us have gone through our own journeys, you know, with weed and whatever. And anyways, so today's video is just us talking again. I'm not really sure where it's going to go, but, you know, Ben is a very bright individual, and I am super excited to just see where the conversation goes and to have Ben's presence just, you know, influence the conversation. So for the next hour, you will be with us.
Yeah. So sit back, relax.
Get some food. But, yeah, dude. Dude, okay, let's not get into that. But yeah, like I don't know, just I haven't talked to you, Ben, in a little bit, so like this first part just me just kind of like we're just gonna catch up a little bit, like what last time we talked, oh my god, it was a Forex conversation.
Probably.
Yes,
we had one since then.
And I think at one point you were working at a cafe, but I feel like that was ages ago.
That was like 2014.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, just tell me, like, what are you up to? Like, where you at these days?
So I since I was working at that tea shop, I sort of switched gears away from bosses and like making money, to be honest.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah. I had a couple experiences where I kind of realized that like I'd probably be happier moving at my own pace, whether that be fast or slow or focused or scattered. Being able to adjust that pace to fit with life would mean that I would be better at achieving my goals, better at self-motivating, and potentially do things that are more interesting and more impactful than just like working even for a company that aligns with what I'm interested in. So, and that kind of got kicked off just with my experience there. Like I had great experiences at the tea shop. I learned a lot about tea. I met a lot of cool people. Like definitely highly recommend working in service to anybody that hasn't, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I got a little seed capital together, and a high school friend of mine approached me about a startup that he was working on that delivered fresh food. And I worked on that for, I think, a little over a year, probably.
Okay, damn, you were in it then.
I was in it, yeah. We moved like 20,000 meals or something.
What was that, Bryant?
Yeah, so that's how it started. I always wondered.
Yeah.
I thought it was something you came up, and I was like, that's kind of different from what Ben would usually do.
Precisely. Yeah. The newer projects are more like things I would do, rather than just kind of like, oh, I found somebody that has the energy to do this. So I definitely learned a lot from running that business about business partnerships, about motivation, about your own job description. When you're high up at a company like this, filtering your own job description because nobody else will do it for you.
I want to know more about that.
Yeah, like I started the business, and you know I'm half of the business, and so whatever things we're slightly better at get diverged so that we're kind of evening up the workload. But my choice is either to do those things myself, or to hire somebody to do it, or to find somebody to do it for free, maybe like an intern. And I ended up spending a lot of time doing like physical printing, and speccing of packages, inspection of meals. I delivered half the food myself, which was fun. I did the North North Peninsula, and my partner did the South to San Jose and all that. But I found myself doing a lot of things that were stuff that I really should hire somebody for.
Mm-hmm.
And I was starting to be my own boss in a bad way.
Yeah, I actually have a question for both of you on that front, because I mean, all three of us right now are, you know, we're not employees anymore, you know, and I know me personally, like, it's just kind of weird, because as an employee, like, it's very like your life is given to you, like what you're supposed to do, your role,
Exactly.
and right. And so I just want to get your guys' take on like how do you guys sort of manage your lives now that a role's not given to you, and how does that make sense? You know what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I just take turns, I guess.
Bryant?
Okay.
Yeah, please.
So how I see it is, when you're in the position of an employee, you're given a role, and whatever problems come at the company, they're divvied up by someone above you that then gives you a job dependent on that problem.
Mm-hmm.
When you're higher up, though, you receive the problem first,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have to figure out what to do with it.
So you're like the problem solver, and then from there on, you're like in control of all the pieces.
So it's swapping of the role that we're traditionally used to, where you are you're originally you're responsible for something, you're told what to do, and now you're the person that's handing out those jobs.
Agreed. Yeah, the primary goal once you've received a task when you're an employee is like any problem solving is going to be the implementation of that thing. Has a set of requirements, and it's going to be like this, and you're creative within that.
Right.
And that's cool. But it's very different from getting handed a problem like out of the world, where it's like, all right, half our delivery vehicles just got in a total crash.
Right.
Head-on crash in the middle of Campbell, and we don't have powered coolers in our car, so I got to either cancel my delivery run and drop off my food, then go back and get it and bring it up to the city, and like, you know, it's like that. And clock is ticking on our deliveries right now.
Right.
It's not like, well, one of our cars is in a crash, so can you come in? Yeah, sure. There is nobody to call, and I'm not getting the call saying, can I come in and cover? I'm already doing my job right now.
Right.
There's a problem on top of it. But that's kind of a new thing that has come with it, is that like high spikes in demand, like momentary spikes in demand for problem solving.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I never actually saw it that way. So the higher up you are, you're just handling problems. Like you're just handling like big package problems.
Yeah, you see the raw problems, and then you cut it up, divide it up, and you give it to your employee.
You're the chess player. And then when you're an employee, you're a piece.
It's like you're given the opportunity to write the game of chess, and you've got a bunch of pieces.
Oh, fuck! Yeah!
And the pieces, they have roles. And
wow, you're actually right. You actually create the game.
You create the shape of the solution as well as implement.
Wow.
The company you choose and the business that you choose to do is the chess game that you created.
Precisely.
Wow, that's insane. Wow, that's cool. Yeah, because the reason why I bring it up is just because like, when you're an employee, it just seems so clear. It just seems so clear what you're supposed to do. What's that?
It's like a college program.
Kind of.
Like a
major
program.
Kind of.
Like you got to do this, and then next semester you're going to be doing this.
Right. Yeah. It's very
And if we miss our goals there, then we'll do it again.
Shit. And if you don't hit your goals, you're gonna go to another school.
And you're fired.
You're fired, yeah.
And the company goes on without you.
So so comparatively, if an employee is a college student, then who are we with that metaphor?
Self-employed.
Well, I mean, yeah.
True.
We're the entire body that creates the program, so that all the faculty.
Okay, well, anyways, yeah.
It's like faculty. It's like, you're like, how do I teach this kid?
Kind of. And we
got to get all these kids through this program. That's our product. Yeah. So the program designers could choose to make school look like anything, but whether it's a good or a bad school depends on their decision.
Yeah, that's true. No, yeah, we're like the school creators.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Okay. Oh, that's fucking crazy. What's the one thing that kind of gets in the way of your performance the most?
Well, I'm sure for me, it's like these problems that have been experienced. I'm not sure if they're like hypothetical or actually did happen.
Well, that
it sounds
example
like
is a real example. Yeah.
Okay, it's a real example. Yeah. So our company, we don't even expect any revenue for quite a while. We won't be profitable for a few years.
Wow.
And it's a very different model. Most apps go through this, where they survive purely on investment money for 1 or 2 years, maybe 5 years. We expect to be profitable in 2 years.
It's exciting.
Yeah, no, I mean that's normal. So that's your answer to what like your block is to performance?
The block to performance is to motivate yourself with no clear problems at all.
Oh yeah.
So let's say I don't do anything, right?
Yeah.
The main problem would be investors look at it and like, okay, well, there's no real progress. Why is that?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the only thing that we can gauge it off of. We have our own plan. Progress right now is mostly dependent on me for developing the app, because everything else happens at a slower pace.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is dependent on me to finish the app right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's like what I like. It's that self-paced aspect where if this is the month where we're going to go from 50 to 90%, or the week or the day, then awesome. And if it's not that day, then depending on the stage of the company. Like once you're delivering products, you're on a schedule, then you've got customers to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're in the research and development stage, it's awesome. It's the best. That's the best, most fun and interesting stage that a company
Research and development stage. Okay, yeah. Can you guys actually enlighten me? So okay. So one, in terms, because you guys have both worked in startups and you're currently working in them, right? Has that been what you're doing? Is that what you're doing?
Yes.
Yeah. So what are like the formal, both like the textbook version of creating a company and then like as you're experiencing it? Because I feel like that's definitely what's missing for me, like in terms of whether it's the YouTube or the blogging or like my book or the coaching. Like I'm very unclear. Like I just started doing shit.
Yeah.
And like it's gotten to the point where like it's definitely not like a real thing. Like I have stuff, but there's like it's not really real. Like how Bryant has this thing and you have this thing, and so like I'm coming to you guys to like what does like I don't know. Does that make any fucking sense?
I think that you are trying to build yourself up as a brand, right? Without that without trust that people would have in you, you don't have that much. You would be back to square one.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So, wait, Ben, are you still? So, what are you doing currently? Are we talking about your past startup, or?
So we've got what we're working on.
So what we're working on right now?
Yeah, and that has kind of taken a back seat in the last couple of weeks, as you know.
Okay, so I think it's pretty much the same idea, where we spend a large amount of development time to create a product before we can release it at all.
Yeah, and nobody knows about us.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what we're doing. We're not trying to ship things to people's houses tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
We take as long as we need, or we have a schedule to create a thing. That's Gabe, what I was talking about when I say research and development stage. It's like before, when you're under the radar still, you're still a company, you're still blacked out. You know, the windows are closed.
Yeah.
There's no, like even if you do have a website, it just says, there's things
under construction. Yeah.
Maybe not that.
With our concept though.
Okay.
We could actually be in development for very long, and we wouldn't miss our window. A lot of businesses need a good timing, and like they need to aim for that correct window.
Got it.
That's not true of the radar, like the industry that Ben was talking about. They're doing nothing at all.
No.
We can sit.
The window's open.
Yeah, we can sit on this for 10 years.
It is wide open, baby.
And it'll still be better.
That's true.
It's still open. I checked yesterday. Wide fucking open. No one even knows.
That's true. I think we can squeak by here, speaking openly about it. If Faruno's like watching your YouTube channel, more power to them.
Yeah, it's one of those things where radar, wireless RF waves, it's considered black magic to the majority of people. They have no idea how it operates. You can just talk about it, even explain the details. No one's gonna understand you. So that's the great part about it.
Okay. No, that makes it good. I just write some notes here that, look into brand development stages, business development stages, self-employment stages. But yeah, what actually my original question was more like, so I'll answer my own question. So like in terms of the blocks of performance.
Oh yes, that's an interesting question then.
Because like an employee, a lot of people's motivation sometimes is like, well, I'm gonna get fired.
That's a really bad one.
Like at the very least, when you're in bed and you fucking snooze 7 times, like that one kind of gets you up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas like in the last week for me, or just periodically, like I have that feeling, just like an employee, where I'm like, I don't want to get up, right? And at the same time, like you don't want to direct your focus, blah blah blah. And so I guess sometimes mine is like a lack of. I lose the presence of like what has me be so fired up, and that's my fault. Like that's my responsibility, right? So that's really what I meant for you guys. Like what in that regard.
Okay, yeah. So I've noticed that is an important thing. Programming, like pretty much all the time, takes a toll on you mentally. Especially, I'm just in my room all day. Sometimes I don't even go out because David's mosquitoes right now. It's 100 degrees outside today. There's no reason for me to go out. But then you have to keep your sanity. You have to keep your your drive up, your spirits up. It's hard, but you want your goal hard enough. Like there's not a day that goes by where I'm like, I don't want to get up for no reason. I know that if I have that feeling, I'm gonna stay in bed. I just get up.
Wow. Not powerful. That's just what it comes down to, I guess, right? Like, you just gotta get up. What about you, Ben?
Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's kind of warped.
I had a drop connection just now. I'm not sure what happened.
Okay.
I'm going to do something fancy.
Okay.
But if you can hear me fine, then we're good.
Yeah, we can hear you fine. It's the same as always.
Cool. For me, I agree. There's this huge aspect of like, you have to self-motivate, there's nobody that's going to fire you, especially if you're like in that dev stage, and it's really just how fast are you willing to go? How much effort are you willing to put in that defines what happens. And I totally empathize with you, Gabe. Like, sometimes you wake up in the morning and you're like, I don't want to get up. I don't want to get out of bed. I want to just hang out here and whatever, browse the internet.
Right.
That's definitely something that I've had trouble dealing with in general. I'm not an early riser, and my mind is active at night, so I will stay up until 3 or 4 a.m. especially if I have a creative project that I'm working on. And it's not every night, so I get this ridiculous jet lag and need to sleep in until 11 to feel whole. And like, if I get up that morning at 6 instead, I am not a happy man. Especially when I have a boss on top of that. It's not, that's not the main component, but that habit or that technique that I use to be creative definitely interferes with my ability to like function at regular hours. So sometimes, and like when there's no boss, there's no firing, it's pretty easy to let the time slip, especially after you've been sleeping.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I know that.
And there's definitely going to be, especially if you're running your own company, there's going to be a grand volume of things that you don't want to do. Like that are boring. Like you've got to fill out your tax forms regularly, and you've got to structure the business properly, which involves a lot of contradicting information on the internet and calling, county and state representatives, not representatives, but employees and stuff. And all of that due diligence stuff isn't fun. And it's not something you really want to do. You just want to go and like do the fun parts and the inspiring parts that you wanted to do in the first place. But the key is the payoff.
Right.
So if you get up in the morning and you go to work for your boss, you don't get fired. And if you can do that for 2 weeks straight, you get paid.
Yeah.
But if you get up in the morning and you're working for yourself, you can get a lot more out of it than not getting fired, for sure. You could actually get something, you could learn something that day. You could
totally
create something that's never been done before that day. If today is the day that, you pass a milestone, which you define yourself, whatever you're proud of, there is nobody looking over your shoulder and going, that's not so great. There is, nobody that can kind of get in your way of your own self-estimation of like, what does this day mean to me?
Right. Yeah, no, you get to live your fucking life. Like you get to live your life. That's definitely one of the best parts.
Much bigger. And that's really important to remember. Today, when you get up, you don't have to go to work.
Right.
That's why you want to get up, is because you get to go to work.
Right.
And if what you want to do is stay in bed, like if that's where you're happiest and most productive, and maybe that's some time. Nobody gets in the way of you meditating or watching TV at the end of the day. Maybe you got to sit in bed for an hour. That's true.
No, that's a good point, actually, and that's something I want to put on the table today. Is so, things that, like, all things considered, like I love the shit every day for me, right? But something that I like judge myself for is like the dollars aren't. I feel like they're not impressive, and they're not. But my point is like I let that like put myself down, like, oh, the dollar amounts is not reflecting the work, and so I feel fraudulent. And it's my whole point with this topic is like, it's funny how like that is like a standard, can be a standard for like how worth life is, or like how worthy things are. Because if I kind of switch it around just now, it's like, well, what makes me happy and what defines success for me is like I'm like happy every day. You know what I'm saying? And not to say money's important, because it's extremely important. I love money, but it just in terms of having like a healthy paradigm that doesn't freak you out when you don't get a certain amount of money yet, especially in these like beginning stages when Bryant's like, yeah, we're not gonna have profit for 17 years. Like, fuck.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, the company won't have profit. Yeah, that's
right. No, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for me, I enjoy the journey of it. Right, like compared to me taking a job right now, I'm not making that much at all.
Yeah. No, me neither. Oh no.
Yeah, no, like I can be making 75 grand a year, probably.
How much would 65K be taxed?
I don't know.
Let's just imagine that I only take 5/6 of it.
I don't know.
So like what?
Oh no.
So like 55, right? 5/6 of 65. I had a tended offer, so 65K working for the weapons division of the military.
Dude, I never knew about that.
Taking 1/6 away would give me 55K. I think I currently get like 30K.
What's it called? Real quick. So I just had this notification. It said free meeting will end in 10 minutes. I think if it's more than 2 people, it does this.
It's a 40 minutes meeting.
We can switch.
It's a 40 minutes meeting. So I think what we're gonna do is like just end it and just restart it. Like just start a new one.
Okay.
Right. So that should work, right?
I don't know.
It's possible that you could change the settings.
Were you guys already talking before?
I mean, we started at 8 pretty much.
Oh yeah. So it's like 36 right now. Yeah.
All right, hold on. Yeah, so I have a timer here. It's at 9 minutes. I'd say What, at like the 3-minute mark, we'll start wrapping up, and then we'll just start a new conversation again?
Yep. Sure.
All right, cool.
Sounds good.
All right, cool. So yeah, when it hits 3 minutes, I'll let everyone know. But yeah, okay. So what were you saying, Brian? You're talking about 60K, 5, 6, and 60K?
Yeah, so I had a tentative offer working for the weapons development division for the Navy.
What?
Yeah, it's called NavAir. It's down in Southern California.
Damn.
The offer was for 65K, but after tax is about 55. I currently get like about 30K. I think that's less tax because 65K is as a W-2 employee versus 1099.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I think what ultimately I'm alluding to is like, it's so easy for like income amount to be like a dick measuring stick thing.
True.
You know
Well, but honestly, like early on, I was definitely like, okay, yeah, I've got this project. Like, yes, okay, we've moved 20,000 meals, 40,000 meals in 2015 or 2016. All these happy people, like, you know, we look like a business. We've got a website, we've got a Yelp, we've, you know, got all these customers, and like, we are barely breaking even. You know, and we only ever did that was actually what caused me to not want to do it anymore was projecting out how long it would take for us to reach the point where I could hire someone to do the driving for me and do the
wow.
And I was like, I don't want to wait that long.
How long was it?
Too long, couple years.
Oh fuck, dude. And see, that's what's so crazy. Like even though you're like, you know, you're a startup and you're more in control, like you do a lot of employee shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I never paid myself.
Yeah, so it's like
I never paid myself.
So the workload is more. It's just the what's the word? I don't know. Not the feeling, but just like the. I mean, it's obviously the work is a lot more. I'm speaking to like how when you're an employee, what's the difference?
Yeah,
you're just more responsible,
and you're not going to get paid, right?
Yeah,
you're not going to get fired if you don't come to work.
Right.
You're not going to get paid if you do come to work. But like I'm saying, the payoff is whatever it is that you're passionate about right now that you're doing, you get to do that.
Yeah,
you get
you're right. That is the payoff.
All of your energy on that because that's what you've chosen.
That is the payoff.
And even if that thing that you have to do today to accomplish your goals isn't something that you want to do, I just figured this out like very recently, so I'm kind of excited about this. It's just a little linguistic trick. Okay, great. You can ask yourself in your head, do I want to do this? No. Easy answer. No, I don't want to get out of bed. I didn't answer that email. All right, I'm following you.
That's how I decided not to take the 65K offer. I was like, do I want to do this? No.
Yeah. All right, go, Ben, go. Second question. Are you willing to do this? Are you willing to get out of bed and do that email? Well, yeah, of course, because, you know, like, who would I be if I was really not willing to do that? I just, you know, maybe I don't want to do it right now. But am I willing to do that? Yes, absolutely. That's something I can do. That's something that's not a big deal. It's not a lot of pain to do it. I want to do it less than browse YouTube, but I'm totally willing to do it. And at that point, that resistance. Yeah. Because it's not like you're used to there being an implication that you've got to do something because someone else is telling you to do it. Right. Yeah. Yeah. You can let things fall apart if you want with a startup. But if you're willing to keep it running, the payoff is huge. Always. Personally or sometimes financially. Yeah. There's as I reflect on those thoughts that do you want to do it? Because that answer is always fucking no. And that's what has you like not get up, right? Yeah. But then when you have the are you willing to do it? For some reason that's like easier emotionally. Yeah. You're like, yeah, it's not a big deal. Yeah. Yeah. And it like takes away the like heaviness and the employee-ship type feeling. That's weird. You have to manually break yourself out of. I learned this from Dan Harmon. That's crazy. Whoa. Who? Dan Harmon. Sounds familiar. Community writer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rick and Morty director.
Oh, bro! Oh my God! I met that guy.
No way.
Yeah, dude. So he's the white guy with the gray hair, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The fact,
dude. Okay. Yeah, the fat guy, dude.
I'm sorry, Dan Harmon.
The fat guy.
So I don't know if either of you knew this, but for a span of like 3 months, I worked at a Chinese restaurant.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
dude. And so he was the only famous person that ever came in, but he came in like twice. It was trippy. And I haven't been a fan of that show, but not that I don't like it. I just had never got onto it. But one of my managers, he like loved that show. And so, yeah, that's crazy, bro. He's a normal ass dude.
Yeah. Well,
He got wasted. Not wasted, but like he got like giggly drunk, you know?
He's a big drinker. He likes vodka. And I watch his podcast. He brings on like Jeff Davis and Duncan Trussell and
Oh, dude.
like
his podcast?
Harmontown. His podcast.
What? That's cool.
The
I like
last
Duncan
one,
Trussell.
I love Duncan Trussell, and he started talking, and I started listening, and I was like, "Wow, dude!" Because he comes in and he's funny. And
Talk about Duncan?
comedy. Duncan Trussell, yeah.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he starts talking about like sort of traditional Buddhist principles and how they apply, like how he sees it applying to some of the problems that his other guests on the show, you know, and Dan Harmon struggles with. Dan talks openly about him going to see his therapist and like a lot of the things that bother him and like his own personal insecurities and stuff.
Oh shit, we have 2 minutes, by the way, so let's finish this topic, then we'll switch up.
Just to wrap up, it's from him. He talked about it on the show, and I was like, wow, like that's how he goes. Am I willing to write, or am I willing to clip my toenails? Like, what kind of monster would say, I'm not willing to clip my toenails?
Yeah, definitely. It takes away the seriousness and makes it less serious. It's like, oh well, it's just fucking toenails.
You're not doing anything you're not willing to do. Maybe you don't really
Right.
want to do it, but you're willing to do it. So
Yeah.
there's no pain there. There's no pain.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right, cool.
Yep.
Let's wrap this up, and then I'll start a new one. Yeah. All right.
All right, sounds
All
good.
right, part 1 over. Peace. All right. Recording. Okay, cool. So we're back. All right. So switching gears. So long story short, me and Bryant came to the conclusion that so our fraternity as a whole kind of like had a beta vibe, like minus a couple members, you and Alver being like the only.
Yeah.
literally verbatim.
I've never
look at relief.
called Alpha by anyone except for at Campus Sig. Somebody came up to me and said something like in that vein, and
Yeah.
it blew me away because
Yeah.
I at the time did not think of myself as like on the leaderboard or whatever you want.
Right. No, I get it. And I got some of that too. But what we were speaking to was just kind of like, well, even kind of beneath that is like, you know, we had much less a fraternity and more like a club of drug people.
Yeah, it was just a club.
It was really just a club. Like there,
It was
and what Bryant mentioned last time, that we don't regret it per se, but we just noticed it. It's like we didn't really develop leaders. Like that wasn't really part of our brand, in my opinion.
No, it wasn't.
Well, it's you two talking about how you didn't have any leaders, and that's hilarious to me.
Well, we didn't develop leaders, is what I'm saying.
Well,
You guys
it's like I feel like we didn't have like like good enough leadership. At the same time, we definitely did not develop leaders. We didn't develop into like what we were telling people. Like, you know, the people we didn't develop them into men. We didn't develop them into leaders.
No. Oh, that's true. Yes. Whatever goal there was for the fraternity itself.
Yeah.
We failed except for making
Well,
ourselves happy.
The goal was to just smoke weed and like be chill.
I don't know. Those parties were pretty cool, man.
I mean, I love the parties, dude. Those are my favorite, dude. Oh my god.
I remember Alex T playing like that Lil Jon. Lil Jon? That's not turned down for one. It's the one that came after it. That's like
I don't know.
Bend over, Mickey.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I remember him dropping that. We did a drop.
Bend over, Mickey.
Well, like make your knees touch your elbow.
Yeah. I know what you're talking. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
He did like some crazy thing, and he was DJing, and we had like 300 people in the house.
What party was this?
I don't know. I can't remember.
We had some pretty crazy ones.
Yeah, we had a lot of crazy ones.
We were good at that.
But like, I remember everything about it. I just don't remember when it was. Oh, I know. It was like right before I left, to be honest.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
It was right before, because I met a girl there that night, and she ended up living in Sunnyvale. And when I came back, like, we went on a date. We went to DNA Lounge, and I came home and woke up the next morning, and that was the last day that I saw my dad. And that moment sticks in my mind because I know exactly when that was. That was March of 2014, I want to say. Yeah.
Okay.
So that was a while ago, man. But it was not as
yeah.
long as ago. Maybe it was like December of 2013 that party was at.
Yeah.
But we had, I mean, we had so many people.
We had bangers. We did have banging parties. I'm not gonna lie. Like, God damn
never
it.
gonna happen again, and I have no regrets.
I know.
Being there for that moment.
No, I don't regret partying at all. I learned, in fact, I learned how to party in those years, and I'm proud of it because dude, like, you know, only every now and then is there a setting where like getting lit is like appropriate, you know, and like I enjoy it. Like, I like getting. I'm not gonna. I like getting fucked up. I just like it. It's fun for me. Like, it's fun for me. But yeah,
and that was obvious. You know, it was clear at the time.
Yeah.
So happy in these contexts, and you're just like running the whole thing.
Yeah.
It felt good to run the whole thing.
It 100% felt good to run the whole thing. Yeah. But yeah, so what was your experience of being in the fraternity like, and what's kind of like your I don't know, your notes?
Me?
Yeah.
So I joined kind of after you guys had done all that formative work.
Yeah. Fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
kudos.
It was awesome. We were the last good class, and you know it.
Yeah, you were for sure.
The line was like 50% chill and 50% not chill, and then after that, it was like 80% not chill.
It was just like we're struggling and we're about to fall.
Yeah.
Because what happened was we were a club, right? And then as I joined, that was part of the initial push for becoming more like a fraternity and picking people not so much that we felt the closest to, but that we felt could function within a fraternity-like organization and fulfill the needs of the national organization.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a huge mistake because it blew the whole thing apart. None of us wanted to do what the national organization wanted us to do.
We didn't.
Just owning and running the house was enough work. Huge deal.
Getting guys to meetings was enough work.
Right, because that wasn't what any of us had really signed up for.
No.
Even though that is what was in the brochure, that was a joke because it was really about us being together and, you know, legally not being classified as a gang.
Right. No, really.
It was about the legal implications of our hanging out.
Yeah, it's really weird.
And so that was the structure that you guys came up with that would most easily facilitate this. I'd say if I was going to do it again, maybe we could make like a lawn darts club or something instead.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't know if they have recruitment requirements.
We should have just had some bullshit. Like, it was like, I don't know. It could have been any kind of subject.
Exactly.
Any kind of subject, really.
Just something that other people would join.
If I did it, I would definitely create a fraternity, like the most alpha fraternity possible. That wouldn't do any like fraternity bullshit, but like the whole thing is to make boys into men.
We pay another fraternity to like do it.
That's what I was thinking, because if you think about it, all our benefactors, right, were ex-fraternity people, and then they invested into this club.
Yeah.
Which you could totally do. But with the whole goal of creating better people, potentially to fill your company, if that's what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah. If the kind of the process was like you join this fraternity and you grow from who you are now to, you know, the best man you could be, that'd be fucking crazy. That'd be cool. That would be cool.
I think it's important to kind of step in at this point because I'm totally on board with what Bryant's saying, but also for somebody maybe outside of that sphere, you might think that there's an implication here. We're talking about turning boys into men. We're using just male pronouns here. And I sort of went through this in my head. I was like, well, if it wasn't a fraternity, is this something that is the same experience for men and women? It's the same need for men and women. Yes, to some degree, but I actually think boys need more education right now than what they're getting. I think the state of young men right now is far more non-functional, far more in need of guidance and fraternity and community.
Mm-hmm.
And it is far more toxic right now, I think, than young female culture in general. There are problems with young female culture, but they are not the same problems. So rather than implying that it's like a club where you can't get in if you're a girl, it's more like, no, we are the ones that are the farthest behind in class, and so we need this special education.
Yeah.
Boys
Well, it's also that if it's a girl, I can't really help them to grow up.
That's true.
So you're barking up the wrong tree in there.
Yes, absolutely. Like, we're not the best people to educate young women, obviously. So, yeah, in terms of context, yeah, I think it's really just, this is what we have experience with, this is what we could actually lend, or this is what we could actually learn here as men. It's
like it's more like, it's less about the gender part. It's more like, well, it just like how to be a mechanic, you go to mechanic school and you work at a mechanic shop. In a similar way, like if you want to learn how to be a better female, you don't go to a fraternity.
No.
And you don't go to a mechanic shop. You hang out with women that are empowered and that are mature and things like that. And so,
and the sorority system is strong and positive and structured.
It's way more structured, and then like they have rules, like legit, like no, like their houses are like, bro, God.
Yeah, they keep their houses private.
Oh yeah, and they're fucking clean as shit.
They're clean. They have a different kind of structure where it's more like, I think, what people would imagine a fraternity to be like.
Right.
So the amount of structure and like a cook and like regular cleanings by a cleaning service.
Oh God, well, that would have been worth it. Damn.
Well, I remember Bryant trying to set up like a
meal plan. Something
yeah.
like that.
One of the main problems is because we're so far from campus, none of the other brothers can access it.
It was pretty much a house thing. Did I pay for that? I think I paid for that at one point. Didn't I?
Yeah. We went a little bit overboard, and eventually, like, we lost some people who were like, okay, this is too much.
Yeah.
People were paying in and then not being able to eat.
Well, no, that wasn't it. It was mostly no one had any idea what they wanted to eat.
That's true.
So me and John would just make it up.
That's right.
And they didn't like it.
Oh my God. Great.
They just didn't want to eat it.
That's like the epitome of a fraternity. What do you guys want to do this month? Do whatever. We're doing this. Why are we doing that? God.
Yeah.
What was this decision made? Right in front of you, dude. You come to every meeting.
Oh my God. Fuck, dude. Anyway. Yeah. I mean, I'm yeah.
That's the word.
Yeah. We were good at making non-stoners stoners. Is that a quality?
No. I don't think it's a quality.
It's like the worst possible quality that we can have.
It is the worst possible quality.
Yeah.
I would try to select the best like males possible for this like hypothetical new fraternity.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if you rebrand it differently, mainly because
like as opposed to it being a fraternity.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not quite sure if that's necessary. I don't think that we would really get anything out of being with the other Greek organizations, so that's definitely something I would not do.
Yeah.
You don't have to be on the board. You don't have to be affiliated with the college even. It doesn't help you.
Yeah.
we had a couple people that were part of the fraternity that also joined a professional fraternity or
Yeah, they did.
or something.
That's something I want to incorporate into the program because there's like it's good for like what is it? They were doing just business, right?
Yeah.
I don't think they really got anything like really good out of it. It was a DSP.
It's like a resume thing.
It was a resume thing, yeah.
The people that I met that came out of there did not smack of business professionals to me either.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was weird. They were all very confident and they had a suit now. But like, I wouldn't be like, yep, they're a must hire. At this point, looking back, I'm definitely not thinking of them as like seasoned professionals, even though they were still in college.
Mm-hmm.
It had the same flavor to it as like how people go to college thinking that that's gonna lead to something. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. I think it's mainly that the programs now there's nothing much special about them. I'm pretty sure you're supposed to go out, try to find something to do beyond just your program, but people just stick into that, and that's all they do.
Yeah,
because they're doing school and all that. They're already too busy, probably.
Yeah. But real quick, so for the audience, so we're very loosely like talking about weed and how great it is, and it is great. Don't get me wrong. But for the people, so this was like 3, 4, 5 years ago for a lot of us, and it was a very different time. Like we were all at different places, and weed served a very different purpose for all of us. You know, I would say if you, so I don't think either of you know this, but I wouldn't say actually depressed, like suicidal depressed, but like I was very like there was a lot of like victimhood going on behind the scenes for me, and a lot of like insecurity and paranoia. And I have like hours and hours of footage of me just like talking to my camera, trying to figure shit out, like a live diary. And bro, I'm sure I'll release some of those someday, but like, you have me like not knowing what to do, what to do. I don't know if you guys remember, but at one point I announced I was considering leaving the fraternity.
It never reached me.
Okay. I think that was like an inner circle thing. But the reason why I brought that up is because I was aware that the culture we had at Kappa Sig was not a growth, like it doesn't support growth.
Yeah.
It's like at best, it's like at a stay still, like with your friend's place, you know? And I wanted so much to move forward. And in a dramatic way, I was like, I need to like cut ties with these people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not that you guys are the issue, but it's like, you know, I felt like I needed to surround myself with a different environment, but I ultimately didn't do it just because, you know, like I imagine a scenario where like I did split myself from the fraternity and like I walked past one of you guys, namely like Eric in his green Kappa Sig hoodie on campus, and I'm not sure how that interaction would go. And ultimately, like
he still wears his Greek stuff.
Of course, no, that makes sense to me. I think ultimately, just like I couldn't do that to people who I've done so much with, and you know, who I call brothers. I couldn't do that.
Thanks, man.
I couldn't do it, bro. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, but you graduated just fine, right? Or you left just fine.
Huh?
You eventually left just fine, right?
Yes, eventually.
Once you felt like it was time for you to go, you know, okay.
Yeah. What is fascinating to me is that, at least in my experience, once I checked out and was no longer like, once I felt like the fraternity served its purpose for me, and like I stopped being president that last quarter, then the fucking fraternity started sinking. I'm not saying it's because of me, but I'm just saying like,
You're a great leader, and in that sense, created sort of a vacuum where nobody had any goals.
Not just that, but it crashed because they disavowed us as a fraternity.
They what?
They disowned us as a fraternity.
You talking about the higher ups?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. They were waiting to find a decent reason to be like, you guys are done.
I think that's shouldn't have waited so long.
I think
I know, right?
That's the one thing that we never realized, like why they didn't like us versus, you know, all the other fraternities that were like doing all these things that they said that is bad.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Because none of us had internships, and it wasn't because of the frat. We never did any major philanthropic projects where we all went out and planted trees or something like that, as far as I know, while I was there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think there were components missing.
We were an empty brand. It would be like we were just like a branch of Starbucks that just wasn't keeping up with the brand of Starbucks.
It's like an old Starbucks sign on a different coffee shop where everybody likes each other and hangs out, but like they haven't served coffee since 1970.
We're like the average Joes, and like Kappa Sigma's like Globo Gym. Is that not like actually what it was?
Yeah, pretty close.
God damn it.
Oh, man. Why didn't you watch more of those kind of things? Like, at least we could have bonded over that as a group. Yeah. We're like, look at us. Our shining moment was our fucking parties where we almost like killed someone on accident. That's an exaggeration, by the way. It's a huge exaggeration.
Yeah.
Compared to like the dominant culture, I'd say we tried to keep it really.
No, for sure. No, like to give some context to the crowd. So, you know, at these parties, we're serving alcohol, and some people don't know how to manage their alcohol, and so
21.
That too. So to be perfectly honest, and so, but we get the blame for that anyway. So again, I think I think the biggest accomplishment we had as a group was the fucking the dance contest, dude. We actually won third place in that bitch. Like we actually won something. Like you know what I'm saying? It definitely wasn't flag football.
I was pretty proud of Kelsey when he got auctioned off.
Oh yeah. I gotta give anyone props to everyone who, especially our guys, like, because you know we go into those situations knowing that like we're not the leaders of the popularity contest. We're not going to win any of those kind of social contests. And so it takes balls for us to even show up, in my opinion.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm being honest about that. Like, it really does.
We had a very different attitude going into a lot of things like that than I think the big fraternities on campus did. And that may have made a small difference.
Yeah.
But only socially and only when, you know, from the perspective of campus sororities or something like that. I think they liked us a lot. Maybe not enough to stick with us, but
yeah, nah, man. Like we it's funny because we had a bunch of quality guys. It's just the Greek system is its own little world.
Yeah,
its own little world, and there's like an expectation of what people and things look like in that world, and we weren't a part of that world.
No. At the same time, I think we should diverge as far as possible from that.
Wait, what do you mean?
Traditional shape of
in general?
Yeah, traditional, like we were trying to get like into the inner circle of the Greek board or whatever,
right?
Greek organizations on campus, and there was no real reason for that. It didn't really benefit us for it. We did feel some a level of I guess satisfaction for winning those contests.
Nah. Just another excuse to party.
We should have just, you know, voluntarily said this fraternity thing isn't actually what we're about.
Yeah.
Because we all do this, and we talked about it informally. Like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
What is this for? Who is it for? Who are these new recruits for?
Yeah.
Like, what are we leaving behind and why? And why are we attempting to suddenly like fit this mold at the end?
Yeah, so like at the very end, I remember the house being filled with strangers, but we're trying to keep as far away as possible from the strangers. So exactly, what is this party for? Why can't we just kick everyone out and just have our own like group of people partying?
Or like, why are we recruiting at that level? Why aren't we just saying like, you know, why didn't we extend our lease by 14 months and then double fake them, just cancel the whole fraternity thing, and just be a group of people? You know, what did we crave about that structure? That's the interesting question to me.
Mm-hmm.
What did we think it was going to do to us?
Yeah, exactly. We had no real clear goal there.
We were caught between our own agenda, which we did 80% of the time, but there was ultimately a bigger agenda that we were paying under. So that was really awkward. And to answer your question, Ben, this is just what's coming up for me. It kind of got to a point where, like, I don't think any of us really, like, questioned that. Like, why are we doing this? And we just did it. It was just, like, part of the culture already. And so we just continued to do it. And I don't know, I don't know, like, those fucking white guys would show up every other month and be like, all right.
Are you doing the thing? And
all right.
They're the boss.
Yeah.
We let ourselves be bossed around, I think.
Well, ultimately, yeah. But it was, I mean, we were still part of the Greek structure, and as such, we had to do these things. And I don't know, but that is an interesting question. Why the fuck? I don't know. The status of being in a fraternity, maybe?
Obviously not. I remember talking at the time about how none of the other frats think we're a real frat, and like we're just this little group of guys. Obviously.
Yeah.
It was obvious what we were, and people showed up to the parties anyway.
Well, yeah, because we threw banger parties, that's why.
Yeah. We were a good group of guys, and that made us different.
Yeah.
We weren't a bunch of strangers that were trying to do this thing full time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I think, what made the group attractive to all of us.
We were a little, and this is not the right word, but we were a little fraudulent.
Maybe.
You know what I'm saying?
I never thought of it as such. I thought that we were authentic.
Right.
But we would put on like a fraudulent outside when it came to the national organization.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Well,
I think pretending to believe in all this structure, and sorry, Gabe, I talked over you.
No, you did.
Yeah. Structure would be the fraudulent thing. Would be saying, I care about the national organization.
But that's the thing. Like, we acted like we cared, but we actually didn't care.
Exactly. We believed that the brand of the fraternity mattered.
Yeah. We were attached to the brand and the status of fraternity. And here's what's interesting. Once the brand was gone, we all pretty much disbanded.
Dude, you guys are the only people that talk to me from college. Other than my first girlfriend, and she's, I talk to her once a week or more.
Mm-hmm.
Kelsey, I talk to Kelsey. I don't know if Kelsey reaches out. I don't think it's anything.
He doesn't really reach out.
He's got his own thing. But like, it is very difficult for me to interact with pretty much anybody else in the fraternity because it was only organizational in
right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, there's like the inner circle group. They kind of gets me when I see them hang out with each other like no one else.
Who?
Jeff, Dante, Oliver.
Yeah, Jeff, Dante, Oliver.
Oh, they still hang out. Oh, that's awesome. I think that's awesome.
Yvonne,
I think
Nick,
it's great.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Kevin Singh, Jason.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad they said. And what's funny is those were the groups that were hanging out together even before they came to the fraternity. So it's like things just kind of stayed the same.
Yes.
Yeah.
That makes sense. No, that makes sense. I mean,
oh, dude, I ran into Rocha.
Oh, dude, I fucking miss him. I talked to him just for
How's he been?
Brief second.
I don't know. I don't know. But he was he looks like a skeleton with bug eyes, but that's normal.
I feel like that's not different.
He looked just like good old Ro, and like he was really happy to see me, and he was like, "No way," and just like. And then I ran into him a week later at the patio again, and I was like, "Yes, it's happening."
Bro,
that's fun.
Dude. Did I ever share with you guys like my final interactions with Noah?
Oh, dude, I'm really curious, actually.
So, let me give some context. To be perfectly honest, I love Noah. Like he was actually one of my favorite brothers. But what got so kind of murky with his presence and the way I interacted with him was just like his lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? To be vague about it, his lifestyle. And there were just a lot of stories from so many different brothers about things that they heard, like interacted with him and like, so like, oh my God. And then it became an issue with the rent as well as like everyone's.
Oh my God! Yes,
you know
I forgot about that.
And so literally, you know, like when we made the decision to kick him out, you know, he would contact me every now and then about his deposit, right? And the plan was to never give him the deposit because we need that. Like we need that because he like broke the lease agreement, and so he doesn't like get that back or something.
Gone.
Like don't even quote me on the financial logistics. Point being, he wanted the deposit, but we were never going to give it back to him. Okay, and it got to a point where, okay, we're at the 10 minutes thing again, by the way. It got to the point where, okay, he's going to keep contacting me. And the way I function is like, I can only lie for so long, and I just need to like be honest and be like, say what the fuck's up. And so the last time I talked to him was like, hey bro, mind you, I'm like scared of him at this point. I'm like, hey bro, like, by the way, I'm paraphrasing. By the way, we're not going to give you your deposit. And he's like, what? We're messaging. He's like, what? Like, blah, 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 blah. You know, he starts unleashing on me, you know, all the things he really wants to say. And he's like, to be perfectly fucking honest, you guys were like the shadiest friends ever, blah, 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 blah. And like literally verbatim, I said like, please don't kill me. Like, and that was actually honest.
You said it, dude.
Like, I was actually honest. Like, that wasn't even a joke. I was like, please don't. I was scared as fuck. And I haven't talked to him or seen him since.
People related to Noah and the fraternity, or that Venn diagram there, were among the scariest people I've ever encountered.
They're really friendly with me, but yeah, I thought
they were very nice guys.
Right.
Nice guys. Terrifying people.
In terms of just what they were up to and what they could do.
One word, doc, and that's it.
Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah. And that we can just end that conversation right there. But I just wanted to share, like, you know, because we talked about Ro and then they were close, and I miss the shit out of Ro, dude. He's
this is just to some degree as well. He's been always interested in coming through for San Francisco related things and all that.
I have a handful to 10 brothers who I really like. Our relationships are endearing to me, and like they're special people to me. You guys are in that group. Sachin's in that group. Ro's in that group. And there are more, but I'll limit it to that. So with Ro, what really it's funny. So, you know, when Ro first came on the scene, he just was like this oddball character that just like liked to get fucked up. And he was just this super skinny Malaysian boy who I didn't really understand. And he was fucking weird, right?
He was really friendly.
But he loved to party. And then maybe on our third interaction, I forget where the hell we were. We were in the middle of a long night of partying, like going all kinds of places. And I think we were at his house or somewhere. And my stoner ass was like, fuck, I want to smoke some weed. And Rose like, you want to smoke some weed, bro? It's like, here, let's smoke some weed. And he's like offering me weed. And so like at this point, I'm receiving gifts from this guy I barely know. I barely know him. And from that moment, it kind of hit me that he's just a very like, not just friendly, but like, there's a lot of love behind this guy, like so much love behind this guy. And from then on,
keeping track like that.
Huh?
He's not really keeping track like that. You know, there's some people that they're like, oh, I like you.
Right.
Everything we do has to be even. And I'm
right.
Personally or financially. He's like, oh, you want me to? I'm gonna go get some chicken. You want some?
He's so
it wouldn't be chicken, but
so accommodating. So gives everything away. Like you know, and I really appreciated about him. And ever since that day, like he like moved into this place into my heart, where I was like, I love this boy, I care about this dude. Like, yeah. So I miss him, dude. I miss hanging out. I miss going down to his room, fucking playing FIFA for 7 hours until 3 a.m. Smoking 30 bowls back to back to back to back with our broken ass bong. God damn, dude. That sketchy ass bong, dude. The fucking sharded.
Oh my god. Yo, I went over to Rowan's house.
Yeah.
He still got that fucking thing.
Did he still use it? Oh my god!
So he cut it, right? He was able to cut off that cracked part, and then it just cracked again.
But now the bowl's broken, so he has a little thing of tinfoil or something.
Oh my god.
Yeah, exactly.
Invest in a new one, bro.
Yeah, it's been 5 years.
God damn.
Yeah, I visited his house too a few times.
God, dude, that thing was the worst. I hated hitting that thing, dude.
It existed. You just want to throw it out when he's not looking.
I mean, yeah.
Here's $40.
Yeah, dude.
Go buy a new one.
Yeah, right. I threw it out. It was the worst. Like, I'm sorry, not really. Like, we threw it out for health reasons.
Sorry, Rowan.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest. You should definitely throw it out.
Yeah. Considering what you do, this is not good for your image. I feel like you should have the top of the line, like something like that.
Rowan, if you're watching this video, throw it out.
Yeah, right. We will start a GoFundMe to get you a better one.
I'll just donate. I'll just give you mine, Rowan.
Yeah,
Rowan, if you still want one, I'll give you mine.
Man.
Oh my god. God damn.
All right. Well, we've got about 4 minutes left in the call. Do you have any closing thoughts, Gabe? I think you should.
No. Yeah. Shall we just close this off and we'll just be? Or do you want to start a new one? We're done. Are we done? I'm done.
Can we close up? I need to do
Yeah.
some work.
Let's close up. Let's close up. Yeah. 4 minutes. Yeah. Not much, bro. It's just good to see you guys. I'm down to do this again.
Yeah. Same time this week? I mean, next week?
Do you guys want to do it next week, or does that feel oversaturated to you? Or?
No,
it's fine with me.
Okay, I'm up for it. I enjoy the camaraderie. I feel like there's more and more that can come out of these conversations. But that's it for me. It's just good to see you guys. Like I told Bryant the first time we did this, it's just crazy to talk to each other again, but to be like so far away from where we were last time.
Yeah.
So it's just a trip. You know what I mean? Like to have my worlds combine. From the So I enjoy it.
It's cool to see how our perspectives have changed over time.
Yeah.
About these things that I haven't really talked about anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Bryant, anything?
Yeah, I really like talking about it. I always used to talk about it with Kelsey when I was his housemate and see what how he felt about it. Like,
Yeah.
He had some words, I'm sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm down to do us three again. I'm down to do us three again for sure. If we were, just for fun, a fun thought experiment, if we were to have a fourth and it was a brother, who would we want?
Sachin, if we were going to talk about...
Ooh!
Yeah, let's do Sachin then.
That's a fire addition. Okay, I'm not sure what he's up to, but one of these days we'll get him on. I'll actually contact him right after this video, after we're done here.
I'm curious what he feels was like missing, because he was at Hawaii.
Yeah, he was at a very official one.
And he was very much a man, very much a leader. He's gone on to work.
Very much a leader for sure.
What were his pants called?
Chubbies.
Chubby. Because I keep looking for short pants and I can't find any.
Chubbies, bro. God damn it.
I gotta go buy some chubbies, dude, before our next meeting.
Right? Let's just have the whole meeting, just not even face to face. Just like the short the crotch podcast. Crotch cast.
When people are speaking, it gets big. It goes like
Oh my god, dude. That would be so fucking funny. All right. Anyways, guys. It was good to see you. I love you both as always. I'll smack both parts together and then I'll upload on YouTube. I'll probably have it up by tomorrow. And I'll post it on the brother page.
For sure.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
So 8 p.m. next week.
8. Oh yeah. One second. It was 8 p.m. Yeah. On Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday next week, same time.
Let's do it.
Nice.
All right, cool. All right, gentlemen. Until then,
Gabe.
Yep.
Until then.
We'll see you next time.
See you guys.
Peace.
Good talk.